we finally have a forest conservation bill passed in Anne Arundel County. You know, we are the leader in the state of clear-cutting forests. 40% of all the forests since 2010 that were cleared in Maryland were cleared in Anne Arundel County. And now with this bill, we're going to be the leader in forest preservation in the state of Maryland. I really expect other counties are going to follow our lead. This was not just the county executive coming up with an idea. This was a real community effort. There was a town hall that hundreds of people showed up to. Hundreds of people testified, hours and hours and hours of testimony. And the development community, the regional developers were very opposed, and they were heard as well. And so there was a back and forth process, and everybody on the council worked so hard. Our staff worked so hard to try to get this right. And I really think that we ended up with something that's really strong and good. And this is not the end. We're going to continue through the general development plan process, small area planning. We're going to continue to work to protect not only the forest, but all of the natural resources of this county.
Any further discussion? Let's call the roll, Madam Secretary, hopefully on 6819 for the last time. Thank you.
Ms. Lacey?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volke?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Hare?
Aye.
Mr. Pruski?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 6819 is passed.
Thank you.
It was great that we got a unanimous vote. Nobody expected that. Everybody came together. And I think part of the reason was that it was very clear that the residents of this county wanted this. They polled, and they came out with close to 80% support, and it was very bipartisan support, just as many Democrats as Republicans and the other side. So what the bill does, though, is there are 3 improvements. One is the amount of land that a developer can clear without any penalty, without having to replant. It used to be much higher than it is. So you can't clear as much land now before you have to start replanting. And then when you do replant, it used to be you only had to plant 1/4 of an acre for every acre you cut down. Now it's 1/2 an acre. So we doubled the replanting ratio. And then we've increased the fee in lieu. If you don't plant, you pay into a fee, and then we figure out a way to plant elsewhere. So it's best not to cut down the trees to begin with, because we know that forests are so valuable to the ecosystem and to our natural environment. So in addition, what we did was, if the forest is part of contiguous forest of 75 acres or more, then it's really hard. You have to actually get a modification to cut down the trees at all, and our planning department is not likely to be giving out those modifications because they understand that they work for the environment and for the people of the county. So I actually believe that the human race is at a point where we have a choice. We can either protect or we can destroy the nature that produced us. And I think in Anne Arundel County, it's pretty clear where people stand on that. 80% of people want to protect the forests that are so central to our ecosystems and our natural environment. And we know that the forests store the carbon that is our best weapon against climate change, and the forests allow the ground to absorb the water so that rain goes into the water table as opposed to running off into the Chesapeake Bay and all of our streams and ruining that ecosystem. So this is more than just about development. It's really about preserving the nature that created us. And then in terms of development, we believe that by limiting development in places where there's forest in these sensitive areas, we're going to drive it to the areas where we want redevelopment to happen. And it's not impossible for the county to grow. We can still do affordable housing. We can still have developers build some of the nice things that improve our quality of life, but we should put it where there's transit. We should put it where there's already pavement, where there are vacant malls. And if we do that, we think that the future of Anne Arundel County is bright.